Why the long face?
Oh, I've just got this nasty premonition.
What premonition?
I've got a barrel of ale at home. I'm afraid it'll go bad on me soon. Someone should really do something about that.
I'm in a right bind. But what are friends for if not to help each other?
God be with you.
You silly doggy.
Here, mutt!
The Chamberlain mentioned you've seen demons at the castle.
You're damn right I did. What do you know about it?
Nothing. That's why I came to you.
I'm sure at least half a dozen demons have taken up residence in the western courtyard. If the Chamberlain didn't tell you how dangerous this is for all of us, I'm telling you now.
Of course he told me. That's why we're trying to resolve this as quickly as possible.
I'm glad to hear it. Give those demons their due.
Tell me what you know then.
You know the guardhouse with the little arena? In the palace below the Crone, over by the outer wall? Inside, I mean, on the ground floor. The place stinks like hell, day in and day out. It makes my head spin. I've seen things there with my own eyes I'd rather not talk about. I'd start the investigation there if I were you.
All right. I'll look into it.
What would you like, friend?
How long have you been serving in Trotsky?
Why'd you ask?
I don't know much about this place, so I wanted to ask you about a few things.
I'm not much of a talker. You'd be better off having a word with our scribe, Erasim. He's served here since the days of the previous lord.
What do you have for sale?
What can you do, sir? Maybe next time, then.
God be with you, my friend, and with... Christ almighty.
The Chamberlain said you know something about the demons haunting the castle.
Of course I do. But I don't know what to think anymore. I keep finding hair in my food. Someone hides my spices. My soup goes sour. And there's that awful smell.
Aye, that sounds terrible. The Chamberlain wants this resolved as soon as possible.
It's about time. Do you have any idea how scared people are? All it takes is one mention of those beasts and the maids start threatening to find work elsewhere. I hear the castle has always been connected to hell, but nobody tells you that when you ask to work here.
Where should I start looking?
They must be coming from the other side of the castle. Under the crone.
All right. But what am I supposed to do about them? I heard I'm supposed to pour some kind of special water.
But you're mostly right. You have to douse the ground in front of the fireplace they're coming from. That creates a boundary demons can't cross.
All right. Where can I find the fireplaces?
That's hard to describe. Anyway, there are 5 such fireplaces on the crone side of the castle. Together they form the shape of a 5-pointed star, a pentagram.
Don't worry. I'll take care of everything. Hopefully I won't miss any of them.
If I were you, I'd do it during the night. Even the demons have to sleep sometime, don't they?
The devil never sleeps.
And the old hag rushes in where the devil fears to tread, eh? The sooner you get rid of them, the better. Farewell, sir. Done in.
How can I help you, sir?
What do you have for sale?
Thank you. And come again, sir.
That's not bad at all.
The Chamberlain said you know something about the demons haunting the castle.
Those monsters are back again. Last summer, we only heard them scratching the walls and roof with their claws. But they got a lot more bold this time. They're leaving charred marks on my wooden spoons, throwing clumps in my food, and they're constantly leaving their droppings in my kitchen.
Are you sure they're demons? I've seen a few mice here. They go wherever they want.
Only you youngsters can come up with something so stupid. You wouldn't know Lucifer if he pricked you in the forehead with his horns. I'm sure they're demons. They're jealous of the prosperity and peace Lord von Berghoff has brought us these last few years.
If you say so. Where should I look for them?
They're coming from the other side of the castle, below the maiden, I swear.
Manietta told me the demons are coming from this side of the castle, from below the crone.
My God, the poor girl must be under their spell. And I was so fond of her.
Let me guess. I'll have to find and sprinkle 5 fireplaces.
Of course. Everyone knows the demons enter this world through the flames. You have to find 5 fireplaces in the palace, under the maiden, and sprinkle water on them. Be careful to sprinkle within the width of your little finger. 9 drops, 1 for every angelic choir, and every 3rd drop must be twice as big as the ones before it.
I'll take care of it. I hope I can do it exactly as you said.
And one more thing to take to heart. The spell is most effective when performed in the moonlight. But most of all, don't forget 9 drops. Take care, my friend.
What a day.
At your service, sir.
I heard some interesting books from Prague have arrived at the castle. There's one I'd like to borrow. An alchemist's cookbook. A sand-coloured cover, embossed.
Yes, several rare and astonishing books have arrived from Prague. But why are you interested in an alchemist's cookbook, of all things?
I've heard there are some interesting ideas in it. Every alchemist is in dogged pursuit of wisdom, especially those from Prague.
Perhaps you know more about that book than I do. Well, I'll have to disappoint you. Lord Nickvard Libak helped me sort the new books at the time, and the one you're looking for caught his attention. He left with it before I could even discover what it's about. All I remember is the author's initials, B.B. I'm fairly benevolent when it comes to lending books, and I appreciate Nickvard's help, but he's had it borrowed for an excessive amount of time now. I'd like to ask him to return it, but he's been avoiding me.
I'll have a talk with Nickvard and find out what the problem is.
You think I haven't tried? But since you've already offered to address this pressing situation, listen to what I've learnt. It seems Nickvard lost the book. I've warned him repeatedly not to carry borrowed books around with him, but to leave them in his chamber and read them there. But Nickvard is old and stubborn, and this is how things turn out.
It's still just a book. Paper and leather.
You say that? To a scribe?
I thought there were more precious things. Like a human life.
We could have a long discussion comparing the value of a Takovite peasant's life with, say, a treatise on physics by Hildegard von Bingen. But I digress. As I said, Nickvard is intentionally avoiding me. but I've made headway. I've managed to find 3 people who've spoken to him recently. Bertha, the cook, Regina, the maid, and Hirsch, the hand.
I reckon those aren't the only 3 people that know him.
I'm surprised that he's ever spoken to anyone but myself. Nickford is a loner, which is also why I suspect something bad has happened. Now that he's decided to leave his shell, that is. But I'm afraid that's all I've managed to find out. Since Lord von Berkove's arrival, I've been preoccupied with other matters.
I'll help you. I'll ask all 3 and see if they lead me to Nickford.
Many thanks. If you aren't sure what to do, stop by and we'll discuss what you found out.
Before I go, can you tell me where I can find those people in the castle?
Who, exactly?
You said Nickford is avoiding you. Where at the castle does he live? Are there any places he frequents?
Nickford lives like a hermit here at Trotsky. Like a ghost. His chambers are in the Crone's tower, but God knows if he's ever slept there. He took his meals down in the Crone's kitchen. Lately, I've often seen him talking to Regina in the Knight's Hall, in the Maiden, or looking out the hall window. I caught sight of him a few times with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle.
So I just have to hope I run into him somewhere.
Nickford always just shows up. I've rarely ever found him on my own. I'm not surprised you can't find him anywhere, since I've been trying myself.
Where is Bertha?
Bertha cooks for us in the Crone's kitchen. She's there most days. If you can't find her there, try the first house in the lower castle, across from the door to the dungeon.
Where is Regina?
As Lord von Berkoff's personal maid, she'll likely be somewhere in the Maiden's Palace, perhaps in the Knight's Hall, or on the floor above it, near the Lord's chambers. She even sleeps there.
Where is Hirsch, the stable boy?
I've seen him with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle. He sleeps in the house directly across from it. I don't know him much, though.
That's everything I needed to know. I hear there are demons causing trouble at the castle again.
Again? Is anyone sprinkling yet?
Aye. Me.
That's the only thing that works.
What do you think of all this?
Occasionally, I hear the servants telling stories that sound like they're taken straight out of a Cistercian penitential. Even Gregory the Great, Gregory of Tours, Caesarius of Heisterbach, or Jacobus de Vorgine all share a similar view of unholy forces. The devil, as the enemy of both God and man, makes every effort to seduce the soul onto the road to hell, and to harm people however he can. How do you imagine the forces of evil?
Like a horrible serpent that'll wrap its tail around you and suck out your soul.
An interesting fantasy, almost Hungarian in nature. King Sigismund would be pleased. Anything else?
What kind of tasks do you do for Lord von Berkoff?
Rare ones, lad. His lordship spends little time at Trotsky. As the royal chamberlain, he has to be in Prague most of the time.
What does the royal chamberlain do?
I understand, lad. You're asking about his authority, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know anything at all about him.
Sir Otto von Burgo is the royal chamberlain. Subcamerarius in Latin. He's one of the 9 most powerful officials in the kingdom. He manages the royal towns and monasteries, approves the councillors and abbots in them, and appoints the royal judges.
Why does Sir Otto have to be in Prague so often?
Because that's the seat of the royal court, and our lord is one of the highest royal officials. Praga caput regni, young man. Prague is the heart of the kingdom. All the political threads come together there. It's where they handle administration of the country. If you want to be somebody, You have to go to Prague, or to Moravia, to that traitor Jobst of Luxembourg.
Excuse me, but why do you consider Margrave Jobst a traitor?
And what else should I call a person who only looks out for any chance to benefit himself?
But now he's fighting for King Wenceslas, isn't he?
Jobst has changed sides so often it's impossible to keep track. But, to give him credit where credit is due, unlike our king, he's a great politician. Wenceslas wasn't even able to hold on to the imperial crown that his father passed on to him before he died. Yes, indeed. One day that bloody Margrave Jobst of ours is going to make it big. He might even become the emperor himself.
Why doesn't Lord von Burgov free our King Wenceslas from captivity in Vienna? He's powerful enough for that, isn't he?
It's politics, boy. Pure and simple.
I understand, but could you explain it a bit more for me? Why did they take our king captive? And why did the Czech lords let Sigismund spread all over the country like a plague?
That's complicated. Back during the reign of both kings' father, Emperor Charles, the nobles gained great wealth and power. And when young Wenceslas came to the throne, he didn't have enough experience or courage to stand up to them. That's why he surrounded himself with faithful lower lords and entrusted them with all the royal offices.
I reckon the high nobility didn't like that, eh?
You're damn right they didn't. They conspired against the king and established their League of Lords. That started a protracted war, dragging the king's cousins, Prokop and Jobst of Luxembourg, into it. But King Wenceslas was stubborn, unyielding, and, unfortunately, also often drunk. He preferred to run away from politics to wine, women, and the hunt. It was only a matter of time before the lords conspired with his brother, the Hungarian King Sigismund. A year ago, they got together and captured Wenceslas in Prague, and Sigismund had the royal castles occupied by his allies. They secretly took the king to Vienna, where his brother is still holding him firmly under lock and key.
So von Burgov and the others want Sigismund to be king?
Not at all. Soon they discovered they'd miscalculated, and that Sigismund wanted the whole country for himself. And now, they can't agree on what to do about it. I think that's why Lord von Burkhoff received your message. He's trying to find new allies among the lower nobility.
Who are among Wenceslas's opponents?
Who do you think? All the nobles in the League of Lords, of course. The most powerful are Henry of Rosenberg, Henry of Hraditz, Boresh of Riesenberg, Bohuslav of Schwamberg, and our Sir Otto von Burghoff, too, so far.
But we serve Sahanis of Lipa and Radzig Kobyla.
Exactly. They're representatives of the lower nobility, who always stood faithfully by Wenceslas because he handed out royal positions to them.
Ah, damn politics.
On the contrary, boy. It's only thanks to politics that von Burghoff didn't send you two to the gallows straight away.
I'd like to learn something.
What is this about?
My respect.
Bertha, instead of devils, I need your help now with Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Well, I'm waiting for Lord Libac to stop by. I brewed him another phial of medicine, but I don't even know if the last one helped. I told him to stop by for another one soon. I reckon he must be feeling better.
Nickvard needed medicine? For what?
I can't say. I promised Lord Libac his secret is safe with me, as well as his phial of medicine.
Oh, come now. Nickvard misplaced an important book somewhere. A sort of alchemist cookbook. I need to find it.
I remember the recipes by heart. And Lord Libac's secret is certainly worth more than any book.
Listen, Bertha. I truly respect your honesty. I'm in the service of a nobleman myself, and I know what's expected of us in cases like these, whether it's Nickvard's illness or political machinations over the fate of our kingdom. Both carry equal weight when spoken about behind closed doors, I'd say. I stand by my principles in matters like that.
Lord Libac's troubles can hardly compare to what you're talking about. It's really quite a trifle in comparison.
So you'll tell me then?
Well, it's a common potion for a bellyache. Just better tasting. It helps your meals go down easier and come out slower the other end. In that regard, Lord Libac had, well, how to say it? Everything came out much too quickly.
Today's a scorcher.
Nickvard didn't have time to run down the stairs, eh?
It was in the privy down below the crone. By the training ground, below the guardhouse. I helped him clean his hose and made him the medicine, and I promised that I wouldn't say anything. Lord Libac is quite particular about the impression he makes on the young maids, you know. He didn't want this little episode to put them off. That's why he didn't use the privy near the maids' quarters. Though it's closer to his chamber, but to the arena instead, and only when there weren't any soldiers around. But this time, it caught up with him.
Is that all?
What else is there to say? That the entire time he looked as if he'd done the worst thing in the world. It happens to the best of us. And I told him as much then. I'm just surprised he never came back for another file, I must say. He did look as if the fate of the entire castle was suddenly on his shoulders.
I don't know if this is going to do me any good.
Well, you could have found a worse clue.
Thanks anyway. Did you hear? Apparently there's demons in the castle.
Damn it! If they weren't before, you surely just summoned them here yourself.
What? How?
Every time you say the word demon, one shows up. Don't you know that? Some words just shouldn't be used.
You just used it yourself.
Corva! You tricked me, you blackguard!
All right, I'll shut up.
About time!
I'm always glad to see polite people like you. God be with you.
God be with you. Keep the peace and we'll stay friends. Maybe next time.
Thy Son was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection. Through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
Greetings. What would you like?
I heard the castle is haunted by demons again, Nicodemus. Did they bother you too?
They did indeed. A few days ago, I was in the chapel, deep in prayer, when a spawn of hell appeared before me. Fac mihi hominium. Swear an oath of allegiance to me.
My God. What did you say to it?
I laughed in the face of the Prince of Darkness. Would you not rather renounce your slavery and return to heaven? I told him. Without hesitation, he replied, better to rule hell than to be a slave in heaven. And then he disappeared, veiled in a terrible, foul-smelling smoke.
That sounds horrifying. But anyway, like I said, I was told to sprinkle water. If they dare try that even on a man of faith, nothing else will help.
I'm glad you have faith in the Lord, and not in some old wives' tales. Now take up your task, and rid us of that hellspawn. May the Lord guide you.
If I sin before God, is there any way I can atone for my sins?
Well, well, well. Have you got a guilty conscience, friend? You can pay the indulgence in the scribe's box. Or you can take the path of repentance and go on a pilgrimage. It will improve your reputation with people, but beware. Making a pilgrimage does not erase your crimes in the eyes of the law, nor does it release you from paying a fine. Always keep that in mind.
How long have you been here in Trotsky, Father?
Well, it's been quite a few years. But if you are interested in local history, you should go and see the scribe Erazim. He's been here the longest.
How do things work in the castle?
You mean who runs things when our lord is away?
Yeah, I see there's a lot of people here, so I wouldn't want to offend anyone.
Then you should watch out especially for Lady Yitka. She's the wife of our Burgrave Hashek. She's a pious woman, but also damned firm and strict on the servants. Her husband is in charge of the castle garrison and order in the region. Then Captain Thomas is responsible for Sir Otto's security. He's an old soldier and an upright fellow, even if he doesn't come to confession more than once a year. And the ruler of the roost here is the Chamberlain, Ulrich von Schaumburg. You seriously don't want to cross him, lad.
I noticed there's no church in Troskowitz, or anywhere nearby. Why's that?
It's true. You'll find the closest one in Uyezd, or in Mladejov on the other side. In Trotsky, we only have the chapel in the castle tower. In short, this domain is the middle of nowhere. It was only with Sir Otto's arrival that great things started happening.
What is Sir Otto von Berghoff like?
What can I tell you? Lord von Berghoff provides a livelihood for many people. He brought money to the region, restored and expanded the castle, and yet he spends most of his time in Prague. He's the royal chamberlain, and politics takes up a lot of his time.
I understand. He pays well and doesn't get in the way, eh?
That's not what I said. The old chamberlain, Ulrich, manages the estate, and he's definitely good with numbers, at least.
But
numbers and accounts aren't everything. One should also think about the salvation of one's soul. But that young man is absolutely none of your business.
I'd like to learn something.
What is this about? The angel of the Lord declared unto Mary,
Do you know where I can find Nickvard? The scribe said you might know.
Erazim is suddenly interested in Nickvard and me. You don't say. But when I need him to read something for me, he never has the time. I'm sorry.
I was asking about Nickvard.
Aye, I heard you. Say, can you read?
I can.
In that case, would you mind reading this message I have from Nickvard?
Show me. Dear Mistress of the Chambers. What is it?
Oh, what I wouldn't give to get messages from someone else. Say, Lord Capon. Never mind. Read on. Though I reckon it interests you more than me.
Persevere. We shall soon escape the dungeon of those two women. Cursed fate, however, has placed an obstacle in my way. The heat of the Lightbringer's potion is working, and I can feel my insides being reborn. But when the last remnants of old age left my body, something else was washed away with them.
How much longer is it?
Not much. My damn clumsiness has sent all of the Lightbringer's secrets into the void, but fear not, I shall get them back. May this be the first task on the road to your liberation. That's it.
Beautiful.
True enough. Nickford has a flair for the dramatic.
My, that's Lieback for you.
But what does it mean? Can you explain any of it to me?
Lord Lieback has taken a liking to me. I suggested to him it wasn't proper for a noble to have an affair with a maid. He thought I meant he was too old for me. But then he found what he calls the Lightbringer's Potion Book. He said it would light a flame in him that would burn out all that's old. So I suppose it worked. Hooray!
I know the book he's talking about, but what does he mean, into the void?
Look, can we stop talking about this? I feel a little uncomfortable here talking about some old lovelorn nobleman.
I need help. You can give it some thought, can't you?
No! And now leave me alone.
Greetings, sir.
Go and get your horse so we can get going.
You silly doggy.